It was another quiet night at the office. No phone calls, no messages, nothing but junk mail and overdue bills to keep me company. Seems nobody wants to hire a real private dick anymore, a professional like me. A guy who does the detective work nobody else wants to do. A guy who wears hats and walks around in a black and white world. I began contemplating a more profitable line of work, like politics.
We are the show you want to know. It's time to talk to you.
All right, folks, good afternoon and welcome to the Thursday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show here on AM 830 WCRN, April 3rd, 2025. Yes, cranking along here. This is kind of the Friday version for the show. Since I'm not in on Friday, the Carr brothers take my time spot at 1 o'clock, so be sure to tune in tomorrow afternoon for the Carr brothers as Mike and Mark, they bring you the world of auto sales and service. So we try to deal with the topics of the day with common sense, where common sense is king, where the Constitution is in fact sacred. And we do stand firm on the bedrock principles of law and order. And here we are just over 2 months into President Donald Trump's second term. Has a nice ring to it. And I'll tell you what, he's wasting no time cleaning up the disaster left behind. And guess what? They're losing their minds over it. Now we've got a couple books coming out, right, talking about just what was going on. And people like Morning Joe has the audacity to go out there now and pretend that the debate, the disastrous presidential debate, was when it was clear to him. He is so full, because if you go back to March of last year, he was telling us Joe Biden is the best he's ever been. He's on top of his game, all across, analytically, cognitively, etc. Go look at it. Joe, we have the video, man. We're going to talk about some major stories. It's always a struggle. What are we going to talk about? We got 1 hour to cover a lot of stuff. There's some 4 major stories we're going to connect today. You're welcome to bring up any story or thought that you have. We'll talk a little bit about this MS-13 thugs getting arrested. DNC and Schumer, this is crazy. They're actually bringing suit against Trump, the administration, to protect illegal voting. They want to be able to sue so that illegals can vote. I mean, that is so illogical on its face value. How do you even get into that one? We have another Soros-backed DA refusing to prosecute real crime, and a migrant hotel turning into a crime lab. Folks, this is America's first agenda in action. The system is being cleaned up, but the left is trying to stop it basically at every turn. Look at the injunctions that are coming in. Let's start with a little good news, shall we? The FBI just took down a high-ranking MS-13 leader, Joe Vargas Escobar. Now, he's responsible for orchestrating at least 11 murders, folks. MS-13. They're trying to tell us the other MS-13 that I scooped up in upscale suburb in Virginia is married and hardworking guy. Just an immigrant, just a migrant who's trying to find the American dream. Let's get this straight with this Escobar. He's illegal alien. He was deported once already. He snuck back in under Biden's open borders, and he kept running MS-13 operations like nothing happened. It was business. Getting kicked out, coming back in, all just part of a day at work. This is exactly why President Trump's border policies, they do matter. This guy should have never been here in the first place, but because he left, and the border became a free-for-all under Biden, violent criminals like him, free reign, come back in whenever they want. And where did they finally catch him? Believe it or not, Long Island, New York. Why? Because sanctuary policies let gangs thrive. First of all, they're self-proclaimed. There is not a mechanism to become sanctuary. You vote yourself that. Okay, we're going to be sanctuary city. Didn't Worcester recently become sanctuary city for transgender? What exactly does that mean? And by the way, I asked the question back then. I'm still waiting for someone to explain to me why do they need saying? Why do the members, the community of the transgender community, I should say, need a sanctuary city? Nobody that I know of is actively doing anything against the transgender community. I'd like to know why a sanctuary city is needed. And if Worcester wants to do that, that's fine. But on the same note, proclaiming whether it's Worcester, Boston, Seattle, it doesn't matter. We have the supremacy clause in the Constitution, meaning that federal immigration law supersedes any state law. You can't make a state law that countermeasures what is state settled law here, guys. Now, under President Trump, we are seeing law enforcement actually do their job, rounding up these thugs, enforcing the law, removing the cancer from the communities. But here's the real question. Why are we even dealing with this at all? Why does the left keep defending sanctuary policies and raising Cain about these violent gang members who are being deported or arrested? No self-awareness that America, every single poll, every single conversation you have with a reasonable person are not behind this. And then we've got Schumer, the DNC, in the left here. What is this war on elections? If you thought the left's love affair with lawlessness stopped the MS-13, you got to think again here, because they filed a lawsuit against Trump's executive order to enforce election laws. Think about how simple that is. Enforce the current election laws. Just play by the rules that have been set out here. You heard it right. Democrats are suing because Trump wants to make sure that only U.S. citizens vote. Because, that's how it works. Citizens get to vote in the elections in their country, state, or municipality. Canadians don't cross over into Buffalo to vote. People from France don't fly over to vote or vote absentee. It's just, that's not how it's done. And the executive order does a few simple things. Common sense things, of course. Requires proof of U.S. citizenship to register to vote. Not a difficult thing to do. Orders voter rolls to be cleaned up, removing dead voters, non-citizens, and duplicates. Youngkin had a problem with this, right? A couple of governors, when they wanted to clean up the voter rolls, the left went crazy about it. Why are you going crazy about purging a voter list? And they tried to make the term purge a voter list a bad connotation, a bad thing. It's a great thing. Think about that. I see these commercials for Rocket or whatever these apps are that you get, and you install it, and it cleans up all your subscriptions, right? You install this thing, it looks at what you're spending money, and their whole advertising campaign on that is they ask people, hey, how many subscriptions are you paying for? Oh, 4. I got Netflix, Hulu, da-da-da. Then they have 12, right? When they're spending $300-400 a month, they didn't realize on their subscriptions. Now, I don't know about you, but I know every penny that goes out of my account. I know every penny that I paid at my credit card bills. I don't know how I could have $400 or $500 that I didn't know about, but whatever. So you install this thing, and it cleans up your subscriptions. Now, why can't you do this with the voter rolls? It's a good thing. Do you really want people who are dead still on there? I've talked about this. The same reason I don't go along with automatically registering people to vote. Because if the people need to be automatically registered to vote, they don't care enough to register to vote. If they don't care enough to register to vote, are you caring enough to actually go to the polls that day? So you've just put one in the chamber. You've loaded that vote, and you don't intend to use it, and you've left it there for someone else. If you want to vote, God bless you, vote. Bro, go register. You don't even have to physically go there. You can get online to do it. Register to vote, and then you go vote. Don't register people who don't even know they're being registered. So take non-citizens off this too. Now, this connects to the other story that's been out there this week about all the people that DOJ found who got reissued Social Security numbers, and they're illegals. And then what they did, naturally, is they took those people and they compared it to the voter rolls and found out that a lot of the people who have illegal Social Security numbers, in fact, did register to vote, and they are illegal citizens. They're illegal immigrants, migrants, illegal aliens is the term. Illegal aliens who have gotten a hold of a Social Security number, registered to vote, and then actually have voted in elections. And of course, you have duplicates. So remove the dead voters. I know people like dead people to vote for a few years, but remove those people, remove the non-citizens, remove the duplicates. The EO also stopped states from counting mail-in ballots after Election Day. Think about the common sense connected to that. That means a party is able to see how the election's going and then magically mail-in ballots who had postmarked after the count start showing up, and they have been counting them. There's a stop to that. Tell me which one of these common sense steps you have a problem with. And for that, Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, and the DNC are screaming about voter suppression. Yeah, if we're voting, we're going to suppress the voter of non-citizens and dead people. Absolutely. Suppress the heck right out of them. Suppression, folks, if you have to cheat to win, you don't deserve to be in the office, quite frankly. And let's not forget, who's leading the lawsuit? Mark Elias, right? The same Democrat lawyer who have peddled the bogus Steele dossier back in 2016. They never stop scheming on this stuff. And we've got the Soros-backed DA that's letting criminals walk. But, of course, Trump is the threat there, folks. I'll take a pause on my opening thoughts here because we're coming up to our first break here on the Thursday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show. So let me remind you, you can join the conversation for the remainder of the hour at 508-871-7000. That's 508-871-7000. Our text line is running. That's 617-297-8388, 617-297-8388. Text out like you would any other number. It appears here on a screen in real time. We try to work it into the conversation. The station does stream 24/7 on the TuneIn app, like thousands of other radio stations do. But go on there if you don't have it. Load it up on your device. Do me a favor, when you hit WCRN, you see our logo, do me a favor, hit the like button. We know you're there, and then we're easy to find. And that means you can take us anywhere. And I do stream the show on my social media platforms at Joe Mangiacotti Show. So you can watch it on X, Facebook, Twitch TV, LinkedIn profile, and we do stream live to Rumble. So many ways to listen, many ways to watch. Today is behind the glass here at WCRN headquarters in Westborough, Massachusetts. He'll get you into the studio for two-way talk and conversation. But we'll take our first break, come back to the second segment here of the Thursday edition in 2 minutes, 10 seconds, folks.
Looking for guidance as you face a future on Social Security? It's hard to figure out on your own, but MedicareAdvisors.com is a completely independent insurance agency specializing in Medicare insurance planning. We work with the top insurance companies so we can offer our clients the best coverage for them. We design plans with a focus on low costs, which we combine with personalized insurance advice aimed at helping our clients make better informed decisions. Russ Swallow is a certified senior advisor and a licensed insurance advisor. He's been helping clients with their health insurance needs since 1970. And after a failed attempt at retirement, he created the Medicare Advisors in 2014. Russ concluded that since Medicare is health insurance, he might as well put his almost 50 years of health insurance experience to good use, as 75,000 people reach age 65 in Massachusetts every year, and they can use some help. Call Russ today at 508-831-0805. Put his years of personal experience to work for you as you try to unravel the complexities of Social Security.
This is Jerry Doherty, host of Making Money Last, right here on WCRN. Like all business owners, I'm interested in why people choose to work with Boston Independence Group. So I asked my clients. The most common response, Jerry does not try to be all things to all people. Boston Independence Group is specialized, focused solely on retirement planning. My customers enjoy the difference. We do one thing, and we do it exceptionally well. Help other people live better in retirement. That's it. If you're ready to retire or making plans to retire, we can do for you what we've done for hundreds of other retirees throughout New England. Live better in retirement. Just give me a call. I'll show you how. My toll-free number is 877-772 877-772-1776. Again, that number is 877-772-1776. And you can visit us on the web at bostonindependencegroup.com. bostonindependencegroup.com.
All right, folks. Welcome back to the second segment here, the Thursday afternoon edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on Radio Central AM 830 WCRN. And reminding you, other than streaming, of course, including the station's Facebook page, YouTube page, and my stuff at Joe Mangi, M-A-N-G-I, Joe Mangi Show. So you can tune in and watch it there. The show does become a podcast once I get off the air. It gets edited and then loaded up wherever you get your podcasts. So Spotify, Podbean, Google Play, Apple, all that. You can subscribe and you'll be notified every time we post a new show. You can join the conversation because the lines are open and available. 508-871-7000. That's 508-871-7000. All right, so President Trump's announcement of the tariffs, right? Because yesterday, Liberation Day. And liberation means being released from suppression or imprisonment. You're liberated. And this is the scuttlebutt in the controversy over this. We got to relax here. This is about reciprocal. On average, we have, on average, there were much greater, some less, 2.5% tariffs on incoming products. But it's 2.5 times on average of our products going out. Where's the equity? Right, that's the buzzword for them, right? Where's the equity in that? So we're talking about something huge here. President Trump's announcement of new tariffs, as he referred to, Liberation Day. And let's be clear, this is about America taking back control of the economy because it's been out of balance for a long time. And Trump's actually you can go to the 90s and see him on the late night shows, even The View. He went on The View many years ago. I don't know if any of those members are still alive, probably, when he went. Yeah, Whoopi was there and Joy was there. But for too long, we've been at the mercy of countries that manipulate trade. They've undercut American workers and they take advantage of weak leadership. Well, that time is over. And they're getting the message because there's already an effect to this. Ted, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, the Liberation Day means something a little different to me, Joe. In fact, the United States has been a slave to the rest of the world financially.
Yeah, we've certainly been the sugar daddy.
80 years.
Yeah. And that's in Trump. That's why this is not. Trump didn't come up with this as a campaign. He's literally has talked about this when he was just real estate tycoon Trump, and then when he was TV star, he didn't matter. He's been pointing this out for decades, and now he's in a position, as he did a lot in the first term, and he has nothing to lose. I know he trolls about the third term and everything, but that's not going to happen. And he's going to be in his 80s. And let the guy go enjoy his billions, for crying out loud. It's time for J.D. Vance, then Don Jr., then, we'll get to Barron at some point.
Yeah, but saying third term sure does suck him in, though, doesn't it?
It does suck him in. And quite honestly, I think it puts other countries a little off balance because they're like, we just got to wait this guy out for this term, and the country might go back to a Clinton-Biden thing, right? Or, they'd love it if Harris was, and they'd walk all over us. So when he says that and points out there were actually 3 paths that could be maybe manipulated, like J.D. Vance runs, and with Trump as his VP, then he resigns, it sets them off because they're not sure.
Where's Mo, Larry, and Curly when you need them,
They start going, could he actually stay in longer? I don't know. But look, he's been talking about this a long time. So effective, actually, April 5th at 12:01 a.m., a universal 10% tariff will be applied to all imports. Now, this is a broad move to correct decades, not even years, just decades of trade imbalances, unfair foreign competition. And the narrative is, again, a small group of opposition party here, or opposition people, When you get to the rank and file, factory workers or assembly car plants, they love this. And reciprocal tariffs against the worst offenders are happening. There are countries that have literally 100% tariff. So it's just double the price of whatever it is. But 95% of the cars in China are made in China because there's such a heavy tariff on the American-made car, because China doesn't want American-made cars. They want their car companies to sell the cars and have everybody in that country drive those cars. Why is it bad if we would like the same thing? It's bad?
No, it's a great thing.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is that people in the United States that are going to buy a Volkswagen, an Audi, a BMW, or a Mercedes, 10% is nothing to these people.
Yeah. Right. Have you ever sat trust me, when you sit at a closing table in the Mercedes dealer, they add more than 10% on for all the upgrade and services they try to close you out there. But the point is, if you're buying a $125,000 car, does $1,250 make a big deal? I get your point on that. But the reciprocal tariffs against the worst offenders here. On the 9th now, additional tariffs will be leveled on imports from roughly 90 countries that have been taking advantage of the U.S. economy. The U.S. economy is a beast. And it's only a beast. And remember this. Always remember, the only reason that we've been able to spend endless amount on wars and recover is because of the reserve dollar, and that we're the international currency. And if that ever goes away, we're done. But these are targeted, proportional tariffs, meaning if a country slaps high tariffs on our goods, we're hitting them right back. Where it should be. Now, we have Sweden and other countries have already said, well, let's have a call. We'd be open to actually eliminating all tariffs. If you eliminate all tariffs, other than the argument about replacing tariffs or replacing income tax or tariffs, but if you remove all tariffs coming and going, that's true free trade. Then quality and pricing is what's going to dictate whether you buy something. China, for example, will now face total effective tariff rate of 54%. This one is long overdue. But for now, Canada, Mexico, right, they stay exempt. No additional reciprocal tariffs on Mexico and Canada, but let's be real, they know better than to push Trump's patience on that. In that one, our neighbor to the north and our neighbor to the south, that's tied also into their efforts in helping to secure the border on the respective borders. Because they've knowingly allowed people to use their country as a launching pad into the United States, especially Mexico. Mexico has some of the toughest immigration laws around. Why do they not bother protecting their southern border? Because they know everybody coming in the southern border is just passing on through to get to the American border. Not to mention, not throwing any, look, there's a lot of corruption. And the cartels, they run a lot of things, and they're responsible because they're getting thousands of dollars ahead of these people that are using their cartels and the coyotes. And I have had long interviews with people who have had this experience who did that to get to this country. And some of the things that happened to them is not fit for me to talk about on radio. So no additional for Mexico and Canada. However, automotive exports will see a tariff adjustment starting again today. Steel and aluminum tariffs, 25% remain in place, reinforcing America's critical manufacturing industries. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. Let's take a pause, go to the phones. Tom's waiting patiently. Hey, Tom, what say you?
Hey, how's it going? Hey, don't we learn from history? These people are
not usually.
Moron. Do you remember when we used to make computers down here in Natick, Framingham?
Yeah.
We were hiring, almost 1 million people. And then they flooded us. In Japan, they came in, no tariffs, flooded us. They laid off where I was working 200,000 computer technicians, software programmers. No jobs for the fathers, the sons who went in that field for years. They were working at Home Depot.
Yeah.
They couldn't find no jobs.
Well, remember, it was
If
a
you would've
Deck.
had
Deck
tariffs-
used to have plants all over the place, and they had Deck had a massive fleet of helicopters, and they had helipads at all their locations, and they were all over the place. Tom, finish your thought on that. The point is, you're saying that we lost all these manufacturing jobs.
No tariffs. These jerks like, come on, bring them in, bring them in, bring them in. Killed all your husband's jobs, your uncles, your aunts, your kids' jobs for years. I'd go in Home Depot and I'd see these software programmers in the electrical department. I said, what the hell? No jobs, no jobs.
Well, that's Tom. That's exactly the point of what Trump is saying, is that having our products with these massive tariffs going out of the country is causing nobody to buy them there. Yet we're importing all these, whether it's computers, cars, and toasters and microwaves and all the equipment that you use. It's great for their economy, but it's moved manufacturing. And remember, Barack Obama said, that's gone. Manufacturing's never coming back here, but it is coming back. There have been trillions of dollars already either done or pledged to build new factories and manufacturing operations here in the United States, as well as move the corporate structure to America, especially. I mean, and Trump was just saying, you buy an American-made car, right? No, that's interest on that loan is going to be deductible. There will be incentives for you to buy and own American. So allowing these countries to absolutely screw us over on the tariffs has moved manufacturing offshore from us to other countries. And that's part of the thing that I'm saying here too. We're going to take a break here, but this isn't a tax on America. It's a little aggravating when I hear that spun that way, because let's debunk the leftist talking point on that is. This is not a tax in the traditional sense. Americans are not forced to pay these tariffs. Instead, they choose American-made goods. What happens when American products become the better choice? More demand, more jobs, stronger economy. Trump's strategy is already working. But we have to take our mid-show break here on the Thursday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. Reminding you, you can join the conversation at 508-871-7000. That's 508-871-7000. Text line 617-297-8388. The show is streaming on the TuneIn app, as well as you can watch and listen on Facebook, X, Twitch TV, Rumble, and all in real time. Joe Mangi Show, M-A-N-G-I. That's the tagline for that. Or go to the station's Facebook page. But we'll be back in 2 and 10, folks.
Time now for the forecast from the Boston Independence Group Weather Center. Call Jerry Doherty today at 877-772-1776. Retirement is within reach.
I'm meteorologist Sherry Spear, and here's the latest Boston 25 weather on Radio 830 WCRN. We have some showers that are going to last through early afternoon, and then after that, you're going to see conditions drying out this afternoon. Mostly cloudy, mostly dry, mild and breezy. We're going to have some gusts about 30 to 40 miles per hour, so you're going to notice that wind element today. Winds will diminish overnight tonight with maybe one final isolated shower coming on through. Tomorrow's going to be dry, partly sunny, less windy with highs still in the 60s. I'm meteorologist Sherry Spear, and you can hear Boston 25 live for the morning drive weekdays on AM 830 WCRN.
More live and local radio is next. Stay tuned to Radio Central 830 WCRN.
Looking for guidance as you face a future on Social Security? It's hard to figure out on your own. But MedicareAdvisors.com is a completely independent insurance agency specializing in Medicare insurance planning. We work with the top insurance companies so we can offer our clients the best coverage for them. We design plans with a focus on low costs, which we combine with personalized insurance advice aimed at helping our clients make better informed decisions. Russ Swallow is a certified senior advisor and a licensed insurance advisor. He's been helping clients with their health insurance needs since 1970. and after a failed attempt at retirement, he created the Medicare Advisors in 2014. Russ concluded that since Medicare is health insurance, he might as well put his almost 50 years of health insurance experience to good use, as 75,000 people reach age 65 in Massachusetts every year, and they can use some help. Call Russ today at 508-831-0805. Put his years of personal experience to work for you as you try to unravel the complexities of Social Security.
All right, folks, welcome back to the second half of the Thursday edition. 508-871-7000. That's 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. Don't forget, we're streaming. So if you want to watch and listen, you can do that on Facebook, X, Twitch TV, LinkedIn profile, and Rumble TV, as well as the station. Not only tune in at 8:30 a.m., but you can take us anywhere with the TuneIn app, and you can tell Alexa, play WCRN, and she'll do that, no questions asked. So just my final thought on this Trump strategy. It's already working, folks. Some nations are already calling for negotiations, and some to actually remove all the tariffs altogether. So Trump is leveraging America's strength, just like he did in his first term. So give it a chance here. And it's a big win for the American workers, especially AUW. The United Auto Workers Union, they're backing Trump's 25% tariff on imported cars in parts, big time. Sean Fain, the president of the UAW, these tariffs are a major step in the right direction for auto workers and blue-collar communities, because they will come back. This means more auto jobs, more production here at home, and stronger American industry. That's what, yeah, Ted?
Joe, I want to ask a question. It's sort of, what is that rhetorical? To make you think.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a choice of paying a fee for a foreign vehicle versus no choice in paying my taxes, which direction would you like to work toward? Mm-hmm. Having a choice or just paying your taxes and have no choice?
Yeah. And it does come down to that. So you have the choice of buying American made or buying something that we've hit with a tariff. But those tariffs, again, are there. And Trump has said, and it's interesting, he won't say the countries. He's not going to give them a shout out. Let's put it that way, right? When he says, hey, there are some countries who have been very fair with us, and they don't do that to us. And they have nothing to fear, because he's not going to put a reciprocal. You can't put a reciprocal if there's no tariff to reciprocate with. So this is what America First actually looks like in action. Trump is keeping his promises. He's restoring economic independence. He's protecting American workers and making sure we don't get ripped off by foreign nations anymore. The usual suspects, the media, the left, the globalists, they're all whining and they predict economic doom. Ignore them. We've seen this strategy work before, and it will work again. So give these tariffs time to take effect. Watch how nations scramble to make better deals and get ready for stronger, more self-reliant America. This is how you put America first. This is how you bring back real economic power.
How long could it take? Let's face it. If you want a new car, the balance of these tariffs and the taxes and all this is going to be less than a year. Run the vehicle you got into the ground until it changes.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's really that significant.
Well, I've been off to buy a brand new car boat for a while. I always buy. My father always said, let the other guy pay the depreciation, right? So I always buy
when you drive it off the lot.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't even have to drive it. The moment you sign the piece of paper, it's a used vehicle. And my father always made a good point to me, and I've exercised that, is I buy high-end used with all the records. Someone took the depreciation, but he always said to me, the money that buys the high-end car maintains the high-end car. And the chances are, if you buy in that high-end car, you get all those services. So I now at this point in my life only buy 3-4 years old, with all being serviced to the dealer. You got all the paperwork, everything done. But anyway, 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. Let's go to the phone lines. Ken has been waiting patiently. Hey, Ken, what say you?
Good afternoon, Joe.
Hey.
I'd like to pick up on Ted's comment about this going on for 80 years, and then also bring in Tom's comment and call it. If you look at the extremes of what could play out, there's a big difference. So let's play out the worst case scenario that, okay, these new tariffs are implemented and they hold because our countries that we're applying it to don't budge. That would clearly be inflationary, which is very contrary to what we live with, none of us being 80 years old, but as Ted has cited, it's been since World War II that we've been under this philosophy that the consumer is king. And if the first scenario I laid out, they won't be king anymore. The priority will be the workers who we have not considered to be king in the last 40 years in particular. Then there's the flip side of this story, where the foreign countries say, we're taking a worse beating from this than you are, and why don't we just get rid of most of these tariffs? So literally, if the end product is we go back pretty much to what we were on January 1st, and the foreign countries all lower their tariffs, then yeah, that clearly is a win for us.
I think that's what the Trump administration thinks will happen. That's the scenario, because they're fine with taking some of those tariffs off if they reduce the tariffs. I mean, I think Trump wants the jobs here. He wants the manufacturing here, so everything is being made, right? I know it pisses him off that cars are being made right over the border, right? Ford was going to build that big plant. They halted it, and they're bringing it back here. Ken, we have tons of old car plants that have been abandoned. They could get retooled and up to speed pretty quickly. So you're right, they could be, but I don't think authentic free trade. Yeah, that's what I would bring to. Good point, Ted. Yeah, that's the whole point. Is if, as I said earlier in the show, if they get rid of the punitive damages, right? They've been using tariffs to balance their budgets, to take care of their deficits in other countries. In other words, they're having us take care of their economy. That was the whole showdown between Trudeau and Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, and that's where he got deemed governor, because he's saying, hey, if you do that, we can't survive. We need that income from the tariffs against American products to function as a country. What did Trump say? Maybe you're better off as a state then. We'll take care of you. Come to Uncle Sam.
Point. How much do the foreign countries are they attached to the way they do business?
Oh, big time. That they've built their model under the American money.
Yeah, but you see my point? That if they feel like, okay, this is the only way you survive as a politician.
Yeah, but they have to do something. They can't survive. That right now, what country can outweigh us? Can outspend? Like, they can't. They have to. They have to say, can we redo this? You know,
they've got to have access to the golden goose.
Yeah,
right. But when a animal is cornered, what happens? You don't know. There are many.
No, you don't know. But you know, if you're the person that's facing the animal, the cornered animal, you should have, you prepare for that, and you know what you're dealing with.
Is the point is we have various leaders in these countries that are impacted throughout the world who have some tough decisions to make, because we're forcing them to discontinue their way of doing business, whether it be literally in exchange of goods or.
But maybe they need to. In other words, they need to readjust their economy and how they do business, that it's not dependent on screwing us over.
It's like an addict in the house. It's like having an addict.
You're gonna have tough love.
Yeah,
you
got to do it.
We got to redo this. And at the same time, Ken, let's not forget that all this is going on, what's the other part that Trump is saying to these countries? And he has Rubio and Hexeth out there. Hey, you guys have got to make sure you start paying what you're supposed to be paying into your defense budgets, because you've been going for decades letting the United States foot the bill for United Nations, NATO, and being there, and you guys, you're putting 1.5–2% of your GPT into the defense. We're taking care of it. And then, when people say, oh, Sweden, all these countries, look at the programs they have in this. Well, that's because they don't have, or they have next to nothing for defense spending because they count on us. Well, look, and we may have to up our official, but we're going to stop paying everybody else's freight. He did that with NATO. Billions of dollars came in when he said, if you're not paid up, you're not part of NATO. How come you don't understand that? We won't be there for you. So on top of this, Ken, I think this administration is causing a reset throughout the globe. It's shaking everything up.
I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah.
You've laid out a great logical path. The problem is the people we're dealing with in the rest of the world aren't as logical as us. So think of J.D. Vance goes to Europe and warns them, about their things about the free speech that are awful.
If you're afraid of your own people, we can't help you.
So what does France do? They put Le Pen in jail.
Yep.
These people aren't getting the message logically.
Yeah.
They're becoming the cornered animal, and so
they are.
We can hope for the best.
But how long? What they're up against right now is they're up against a Trump in a Trump Vance. They're not up against a Biden or Kamala Harris. First of all, we wouldn't be in this position with those two. And what they haven't yet learned, I guess, or it hasn't sunk in, is you're not going to win. You're just not.
Joe, you can lead people to knowledge, but you can't make them think.
Yeah.
And they have to not be punished, but they need to suffer or hit rock bottom before they'll realize what the deal really is.
So there's going to be growing pains. There's going to be adjustment pains. There's going to be a lot of pain before people start to, and what is going to happen in those countries, Ken? How much before the people start to revolt a little bit and say, we need new leadership in here, right? We've got to change it. You guys aren't getting it. You need to play ball here. You need to fix this, because if there were reasonable tariffs, they could still have a little bit of income, and we could put the same little bit of tariff too. But Ken, we're against final thought. You good? I'm against the clock.
Yeah, I just have are they going to come to their senses? And I don't know if they have their senses anymore.
Fair enough. Thank you for the call, Ken. Always a good point. I think they don't have a choice. I think that they either figure it out, or, you know what I'm saying? What are you going to do? We're not stopping this. Trump ain't changing course. He's not going to adjust anything. He's doing what he's doing, and he's doing it kind of with an iron fist, and not against the American people. Everything he's doing is to make sure we get the economy we're supposed to have back. Hey, Dan, hold on. We're going to take the break, the third and final break here on the Thursday edition. So we'll be back in 2 and 10.
Looking for guidance as you face a future on Social Security? It's hard to figure out on your own, but MedicareAdvisors.com is a completely independent insurance agency specializing in Medicare insurance planning. We work with the top insurance companies so we can offer our clients the best coverage for them. We design plans with a focus on low costs, which we combine with personalized insurance advice aimed at helping our clients make better informed decisions. Russ Swallow is a certified senior advisor and a licensed insurance advisor. He's been helping clients with their health insurance needs since 1970. And after a failed attempt at retirement, he created the Medicare Advisors in 2014. Russ concluded that since Medicare is health insurance, he might as well put his almost 50 years of health insurance experience to good use, as 75,000 people reach age 65 in Massachusetts every year, and they can use some help. Call Russ today at 508-831-0805. Put his years of personal experience to work for you as you try to unravel the complexities of Social Security.
Looking for a fuel and food stop that truly stands out? Experience the Yatco difference. At Yatco, we're dedicated to bringing you the best customer service, the highest quality products, and a commitment to making your life on the go easier. From top quality fuel to freshly stocked snacks and essentials, Yatco has you covered. Yatco has 15 convenient locations across central Massachusetts and now our newest spot at 75 Quansigamut Ave in Worcester. For Yatco rewards, simply download the Yatco app and sign up. Friendly, clean, local, and always convenient. Make Yatco your favorite food and fuel stop. Stop by Yatco food and fuel stations today and experience the Yatco difference. Yatco, where every stop keeps you going.
All right, folks. Welcome back to the fourth and final segment here on the Thursday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. Reminding you, the show is turned into a podcast, of course, so you can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Play, Google Play, Spotify, Podbean, etc. And, of course, the station does stream with the TuneIn app, which is great because you can take us anywhere. And if you want to watch from the palatial but not overly ostentatious studios here at WCRN, you can do that on Facebook, either on my platforms for the show at Joe Mangi Show or the station, WCRN AM 830, or you can do it on YouTube for the station, as well as my X account, Twitch account, LinkedIn profile, and I do have a channel on Rumble. Woo-hoo! Yeah. And then the show is loaded up to Twitch, or loaded up, I should say, not loaded up. I don't know what the hell that means. Loaded up to Twitch TV. That's a streaming channel. You can get that on your streaming device, your Roku, your Fire Stick, or your smart TV, like you do other ones like Netflix and Hulu. It's called Twitch TV. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. Dan, you've been waiting patiently. I appreciate that. What say you?
Yes. And what did Trump always talk about at the rally up in New Hampshire? He talks about the wheel. So if it's like a circle, right? If you break the circle, it doesn't. People got to realize what comes around goes around, and we're all interconnected. Everybody's job, and when they did that NAFTA in the 80s, I think it was in the 90s. Excuse me. But the Bushes were involved in that. They were part of that because you got to go back to the entanglement of Bush Sr. when he was sent an envoy to the People's Republic of China. Okay, and he set up an embassy over there, and he started the ball rolling, and the Clinton, and then after that, Bush Jr. continued it along with Obama, and these people are all tied to China. The Bushes get millions and millions of dollars from all kinds of banking entities. Okay, and so the Clintons are tied into it. The Obama's tied into it. Biden's tied into it, and all kinds of other politicians in the Senate and in Congress. This is ridiculous. And
we'll look into Mitch McConnell's wife, and look, this is the thing, right? I mean, the whole thing with the politicians, they have all this access to information and the knowledge. That's why I go back to the fact, why are these people become multi-millionaires on 200,000 or less a year, but 4 terms, 5 terms in the House, or a couple terms in the Senate, and they're watching everyone else. Think about that, Dan, right? So they get elected, and they might be of the purest intent. They really might be. And they might get elected because they're earnest, and they go out there and they really beat the pavement, and they connect with people, and they're very picky about where money's coming from, and they might take a little PAC money, whatever, and they get there. And I know because I've talked with Peter Blute about this, who has spent a couple terms, and I've talked to other members of Congress, and they get there. And the reality of what life is, and they find out that right away, every day, 2-3 hours in the morning, you're spent on the phone fundraising for your reelection. You got here, you got sworn in yesterday, and that's what you're doing. And then you're told you're going to be on these committees, and then the whip is telling you how you got to vote, and you thought you were there to vote for what was best for your constituency. Then they see everybody around them, Dan, with all kinds of money, and they're making money. Well, what are they doing? These aren't all book deals, right? And there are apps out there where people have said, you know what, I'm going to put Paul Pelosi, and I'm going to put Pelosi, and I'm going to put this guy and that guy. I'm going to put all of these people's trades, which you can get public, but they're going to put it into an app form. So you can actually go on there and you can start duplicating the trades that Paulie P's doing. And like guys like Rick Scott, I mean, he was worth hundreds of millions of dollars when he went into public service. So it's hard to look at that. But I'm talking about the people who were barely making it, right? I mean, look at AOC. She complained she couldn't afford to rent a place when she went to D.C. Now, I'm not saying she's worth $20 million. I have no idea what she's worth, but she's a lot more comfortable and will get more and more comfortable. But it's all connected. It's all connected. So where do you start, right?
A lot of people are claiming she's worth over 20 million.
Yeah, I see that, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Is she really though?
Yeah.
I mean, she's worth. I wouldn't be surprised if she was net worth a couple million anyway, because she's just gonna have other revenue streams here, and we'll see what happens. But another point, Dan.
Yes, one more point. The whole thing with the Social Security and using the illegals, giving them those Social Security numbers.
Yeah.
And they got the receipts now, and the illegals were voting in these elections. I mean, this is our elections got to be cleaned up. And I wasn't too happy because last night I found out that Tuesday, Daniel's Richard's case was dismissed, and we had standing. So tell me, how do you dismiss a case when we've proven standing? And the next part is to go to trial. Daniel Richard versus Governor Sununu, elections that have been illegal and unconstitutional in New Hampshire since before 1979. And the Democrat, Bill Gardner, who he was the Secretary of State in New Hampshire for 37 years, and he started in 1973. That's when it all started, the corruption and the changing of the laws in New Hampshire, voting laws, without getting the approval of we the people.
Yeah, Dan, I agree 100%. You know what, we'll get into this, Daniel Richard, because I don't know enough about the background, and that would be a great day for you to participate. Now look into this, but across the board, my feeling on elections is we absolutely have to clean this up, and the fact that Schumer and Akeem and all these are suing the Trump administration for that executive order is beyond common sense. I just can't even fathom and get how they get there. And do they have no self-awareness what they look like when they do this? Look, when you say that voter ID is racist, that's like desperate, right? Because you have no argument. So you're going to pull the race card on something. It's absolutely asinine. And the biggest people who get insulted with comments like that are actually people of color and minorities who are insulted. You're saying they don't have the wherewithal to be able to get an ID that everyone else in the world has. It's absolutely ridiculous. 508, thank you for the call, Dan. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. Let's go to Robert and Gardner. First time caller, Robert.
Yes, I'm not very familiar with politics in general.
Mm-hmm.
I wish to have a recording of your show on podcast, but I'm unable to reach it.
Well, do you have Spotify?
At the present time, no, I don't.
Do you have social media like Facebook or X?
I have Facebook.
Okay. Well, if you go to Facebook and you go to just go to Facebook and go Joe Mangi, Mangi, you should find my show Facebook page, and you have the ability to, if you just open it, there's actually a video, right, of the streaming. I do it live to the Facebook channel, and then it's sitting there. But also when it becomes a podcast, Robert, I post that on that page. And if you click it, it will open up the Podbean, and you just subscribe there, and then it's an audio file. And of course, you can always go to WCRNradio.com and hit the listen live button if you want to stream it. But you're talking about you want to be able to listen to it when you feel like it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And certainly understanding politics wasn't my hobby to understand, but I'm on the WCRN page.
Mm-hmm. There's a listen live button up on the left.
Yes, that works, but there recordings of all the programming, I can't enter into it.
Sure. If you go to, like, if you look up today, Thursday, well, look up any Monday through Thursday at 1 o'clock,
Yes.
you're going to see me. If you
That's
click,
right.
if you click that, it will open a page and it will populate with the not now, the live show won't be there, but yesterday's show will be right there. So it will say April 2nd. And you can download that file and have an MP3 of yesterday's show, or you can listen to it right on the computer.
That's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. You're telling me it's not doing that?
It's not doing that.
Yeah.
I've been waiting and attacking this for 3 or 4 days now.
Really? All right. You know what I'm going to do for you here, Robert? I am going to open the W on my computer in front of me in the studio. I opened up the line. I'm going to go to my day, and
that's WCRNradio.com.
No, he's on the right. He sees the thing. Now, I opened it up, and our playback is working. Can you hear me? That's yesterday's show in the background. So it is working. So if it's not working, maybe it's your internet speed's a little slow or something like that. But why don't you go to the Facebook page, Robert? Go to Joe Mangiacotti Show on Facebook.
Yeah.
And at any time you want, you can hit the podcast button, or just click the video, and you can see the studio. You can see me in the studio with the big WCRN behind me. Where from in the other studio. Yeah. And you can listen on Facebook. Probably the easiest way for you.
Unfortunately, you can't see me.
Well, that's by design. We've done that. We tried to put a camera in that studio once.
And I have Sonos, and that does have Spotify on there.
Okay. You can find me on Spotify too. Do the search.
But I'm not sure how to go for the listing of the programming.
Okay.
All that's given.
Okay. Well, you know what? Play with our website, because all the shows are there. There's also a page that has a little bit about the hosts and what the show's about. Check that out, folks. And again, that's WCRNradio.com. And you can do the lineup, or you can do the host button.
That's that's what I'm on right now. And I got all these different items here at the bottom of the page.
Yeah. Well, ignore the bottom of the page. Robert, I want you to go up to the top of the page and look at all of that stuff there. And play with the website. You'll find everything you want. But I think if you want to know a little bit about politics and what my show's about, go to the Facebook page. So I'm against the clock, Robert. Thank you for listening, and thank you for wanting to learn more about politics. And thank you for checking out WCRNradio.com. All right, folks, that will wrap up the Thursday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. Tomorrow afternoon, 1 o'clock, the Carr Brothers coming away with their car talk, so that's pretty cool. Coming up right after me would be Frankie Boyer. She's always great to listen to. I'll be back Monday at 1 o'clock, folks, and we're broadcasting from Route 12 Pickleball on Sunday. Join us. Joe out.